All right, let's get to meet our panelists here, starting from, I'm going to go backward just so we can see Simon Bescher from Ling, Rishi Oberoi, and Jaslyn Yi from Smadex. So, and Photon Tadpole. So now that you can see where the names are, where they work, what I realize is I didn't actually replicate that on these title slides. So, mistake. That's okay. It's all a learning experience. At least you have slides. How many panels have slides? All right, Simon, save us. Who are you? What do you do? The hell are you doing here?
Great, thank you very much. So yes, I'm Simon. I'm originally from Germany. And 6 years ago, we started an app called Ling. It's a language learn app. It's awesome. Please all download it. It's for free. So I started with my wife together originally as a side hustle, and we quit our job and came to Thailand. And now we grew the app to about, it's like 250,000 monthly active users. And you can learn a lot of languages from it. And we have about 30 people working on it right now. So yeah, we are based in Chiang Mai, Thailand. It's a great city to live.
Awesome. Is our guy who speaks German still here? Hey, there you go. You got two of them now. Look at that. Willkommen. All right, next.
Hi, I'm Rishi. I've been in mobile games since 2002, doing it long before Apple and Google got into mobile themselves. I ran the production team of a company called India Games. We sold it to Disney. I ran the Disney Interactive team for 3 years before starting my own game studio. And what we're doing with our game studio is we're doing kids games. For the last 2 years, we've built out our own game called Leela's World. It's organically done really well. In the last 2 years, we've gotten about 14 million downloads worldwide and, growing pretty strong.
Awesome. Last but certainly not least.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jaslyn from Smadex. So I have been in the advertising industry, mobile specifically, since 2007. So it's really been old and still, but I'm still growing and learning. Like Rishi, I have been in the space way before Apple App Store and Google Play were even founded. So witnessing the entire revolution of mobile ad space is really very interesting, exciting, and I'm really passionate about this. So Smadex, who we are, what I do here is that we are a performance DSP, and we are part of Entravision Group, which is a media conglomerate based out of US. What we do here is that my role is basically partnerships and growth for Southeast Asia, India, basically anything outside of CJK, China, Japan, Korea. So what I do is we help advertisers to maximize their ROI as per what the title is here. And of course, to help them to get the right audiences where they want. So yeah, this is what I do. Thank you.
Oh, look at that, Smadex, yeah. That is for all three of them, right? Yeah. Bam. Okay, so same thing. We wanted to keep it positive. I really wanted to say, and you can add this one too if you want, what was the last app you uninstalled and why? Or you can say the last app you installed and why. I leave it up to you to decide which way you want to go. Let's start over here with Jaslyn first.
Okay. So I recently installed 2 apps. So the one app is Red. It's called Xiaohongshu. And this is actually a very popular Chinese app. That is very similar. It's like a hybrid of Pinterest and Instagram together, where you can get lots of ideas about any genres like travel, beauty, fashion, etc. So it is like a little guilty pleasure that I have before I launch into Zalora app or Shopback or whatever app for me to actually purchase something. And the second app I also downloaded at the same time was because I was at a playground with my kids. So I downloaded a mosquito frequency app to keep mosquitoes away. And that was also the last app that I uninstalled because it's utility, I don't need it anymore, and I realized there's too many ads. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I downloaded Grab this morning to get my cab to come here. So that was the last app. Non-work related, right?
Yeah.
And for me, being in Thailand, my father-in-law got actually bitten by a snake, and so I used the app Snake Snap, which is pretty cool, to actually identify if the snake, we took a photo of the snake, if it's venomous or not, and fortunately it wasn't venomous. But it was a pretty cool experience. But I also uninstalled after that because there's not that many snakes.
How did you even know that that existed?
I just thought, hey, there must be an app that does that, like
So
with
your
AI,
father-in-law
right?
gets bitten by a snake, and you're like, there must be an app for this.
I mean, to be fair, like we asked some locals, and they already said it's probably not venomous, but probably. So I thought, let's confirm with the app.
Not Google, just the App Store. Yeah.
Right.
That's awesome. Well, if you were like, 10 years younger, you'd probably just TikTok it and just say, what do I do? Really, you bit by a snake? Check this out. Yeah. Okay. All right, moving on. Okay, hero channels. Like, how did you come across deciding which your hero channel was? Did you do testing for multiple channels? Because you have, actually, we should start with what is your hero channel? Like, what is the one that works the best for you to get most of your users? And how did you determine that that was the one? Simon, besides the snake app, obviously.
Yeah, for us, it's definitely content marketing. So we have a blog that just reached 1 million users per month, which is pretty great, and it also gives a lot of downloads to the app. And the way we found it is really just trying out different channels, but don't stop when it doesn't work. You have to invest 6 to 12 months, I would say, for each channel to really see does it work or not, and does it get some initial traction. And yeah, we tried different channels. We tried everything. We also tried influencer marketing, YouTube, Facebook, and all of the different channels, and ads as well. But I think ads can only go so far, and it's good to really have an additional channel. And for us, it was that. But then for actually how to see which one is the best channel, we of course also use MMPs and compare the different channels and see which ones get the most downloads, but also which ones do they get the most events, in-app events, and which ones bring the most engaged users.
Every vendor here loved when you said, test the channel out for a year. They're like, yes, sign a 1-year IO.
I mean, for ads, you would probably not spend a year.
Oh, okay. They're like, well. All right, next, Rishi.
I don't know whether we have a hero channel. I mean, we've grown everything organically. So what we look to do essentially is to be, get fundamentals right before we launch the app. We want to make sure we dot our I's and cross our T's. So, we do a 4-month, beta test before we launch it. We make sure that we are soft launching it. We are testing all the metrics. Because, just getting all the fundamentals right, and of course, it's really dependent on the market that you're in, what type of product you're in. I guess part of it is that we're lucky we're in the kids app space because that audience is limited. So when the kids and the space that we are in, the kids are searching for the apps themselves. If it was younger, they wouldn't be searching for themselves. It would be something that their parents would be searching and giving it to them. But for 5 to 10 years old, they're actually searching themselves, and they're finding it organically because we've done our groundwork before that.
Okay, so since I am from the programmatic space, I don't have any app. Because I'm not an app owner, I don't have any hero channels. So I represent programmatic and will share this with everybody. So there's not really a best channel per se, because it's really very subjective, depending on what is your goals as a marketer, what you plan to look at. So if I were to talk about programmatic, since I'm a performance DSP itself, I would say that for most of my advertisers, when they actually come to us, for their user acquisition opportunities in certain markets that they want to. I think there are a couple of things that I want to share and highlight, maybe just one or two. The most important thing is I know marketers are very, very budget conscious. Who doesn't, right? So to wait for 1 year is not really the case for us. Some even say that can you even do it in 10 days or less? So what we do here is we help advertisers to basically rule out the guessing games. So there's no such thing as, okay, just give me 20,000, 30,000, I'll just let the machine learn, and then after that we'll spin out some information, and this is how we get some marketing analytics for you. But we don't actually do that. So before we even start spending the first marketing dollar of the app advertiser, we actually get all the in-app events from them. So we'll be able to understand the entire user journey. We'll be able to understand the behavior, the contextually, how the users behave, like how do they install the app, which kind of channels are they from, what kind of probably demographics profiles are these consumers, before we even start to give strategies and plans to launch into the market that the advertiser want. Another thing is very important on programmatic that we can actually help advertisers to turn this into a hero channel for them is they also have this possibility of understanding where these consumers are going to perform after they actually buy into certain markets for them. Let's say the in-app events, it's not about in-stores. It's about registrations, it's about ROS Day 1, ROS Day 7, and so on and so forth. So all this entire user journey, in-app events, are very, very precious to every app advertisers out there. We are no longer looking at clicks, impressions, or even in-stores. Today, marketers are very, very focused into how can you get me to the bottom line, down the line kind of funnel, direct responses from your DSP, because time is an enemy for us. They have a limited budget. So how can we actually make full use of data to make really meaningful learning so that we can actually launch into these markets for them, and we can manage each other's expectations and to also prevent unwanted disappointments. This will actually give advertisers a sense of understanding, hey, this is how programmatic DSPs come in to benefit advertisers. So we don't just plug number from the skies, throw it into the machine learning, and then tell you that, hey, it works, it doesn't work, bye, sorry. But we actually give you a lot of strategies and plans. So that's why they love us, because we are fully transparent. You will be able to know who are your publishers. You'll be able to know your sub-publishers. You can even know who are these publishers' IDs. So, just one last thing to add is that because we also can, basically apart from Facebook and TikTok where you can buy from Panga, you naturally can buy anything from programmatic DSP. So even Google, we are working with Google as well, because users do not use Facebook or TikTok or search 24/7. They're everywhere. They could be even playing games. They could be even searching on the mobile web to look for information or whatever. So we are the ones that actually target audiences that is beyond the walled gardens. So we'll be able to share this information back to the advertisers. And if they are also buying Google, they can also buy Google from us, and they can actually compare the prices. And then they will see, hey, this DSP is actually doing a better job than my marketing team. What should I do? And because we can share analytics back. So they can actually use this, analyze, understand, and then progress and make their entire marketing campaign even a better one. Yeah.
All right, moving on to organic channels. How do you use ASO, organic and custom product pages, to increase your overall organic downloads? I think that's for you, Rishi?
Yeah. So fundamental, I think, what I said just before this, that we start off by making sure that the fundamentals are in place, right? When we're doing the soft launch, everything that everyone has already said in the past, what Google says, what Apple already tells you, make sure your screenshots are tested, make sure your app icons are tested, and then test it out in the market when you're doing the soft launch. The real critical thing here is to get your keywords right? To put down all the list of keywords that you want to use, find out which ones have the highest traffic, and which ones are the ones that you can rank for, which ones will be relevant for your type of app. And of course, a lot of this is very, very dependent on what I was mentioning earlier as well, the market that you're in and the sector that you're in. They might not be very high keyword search for a snake recognition app, I don't know. But I know for certain kids apps there are. And if you can find those keywords which are missing from your competitors, and then you can optimize for that. Apple, of course, gives you the opportunity to do it directly. Google gives you an opportunity to do it indirectly, and you have to really know how to write down long description, short description, to make sure that you're optimizing for that. ChatGPT helps. It is really helping right now as well. But you can help get down your core keywords on that.
What prompt are you using to get this information?
I mean, the more detailed the prompt, the better the keyword, the better your. So you go down and say, I want a description which has at least this for this kind of an app, and it has at least 3,500 words. So then you can put in your the rest of your data essentially. Just get the fundamentals right and make sure your keywords are working, and then do the search. And before you launch, that all your like everything's already in place, so that once you do hit that go button, you'll start seeing the uptake.
Have you actually used ChatGPT for ASO keyword
Yes,
analysis?
I have.
And have
not
you seen
not
better
for
results?
keywords, but for the descriptions.
Yeah, have you seen better results since you used ChatGPT?
Well, I mean, I did it before launch, so I don't know. I haven't done an A/B test to see whether it works without it. But I asked ChatGPT to give me the description with these particular keywords and put it out.
Has anybody else used ChatGPT to write their ASO descriptions and have definitive data of whether it's actually helped your rank or not? All right.
I can add something to us because we
Please.
actually did that too.
Okay.
But the way we do it is that we translate our app in over about 25 languages, and then there's a lot of translators that you need, obviously. And the best thing that you can do is hire a translator that knows about your app, and then you work with them like part-time translators, and you work with them continuously. And then there's one ASO person that coordinates everything of that. But then if you don't have the budget, why don't you just translate everything using ChatGPT? And it doesn't cost anything. You don't even have to translate the app. Just translate all the store listings. And we did that with some of the languages. Just translated ChatGPT. And then if we see some initial traction, we let some native speaker look over it and optimize it more. Yeah.
Interesting.
And that's part of the fundamentals too, right? To make sure that your product pages are, at least your product pages are translated. And you really don't need too much of a budget to do that.
All right, next year, I want someone to give a presentation with definitive test results over ChatGPT versus humans for ASO rankings. Okay, so alternative channel strategies. We're going to start down there with Simon because he has a very interesting alternative organic strategy. You want to explain?
Right, yeah. So that was a blog that I mentioned. You can check it out on linkup.com/blog. So the idea of it is that you have to figure out what your app is basically, and what's the, in the talk before there was also the mention, like what's the unique selling point. And for us it's like the small languages, so it's, or not small, but it's like less learned languages, like learn Thai, learn Tagalog, learn Indonesian and so on. And so there is not a lot of good content out there in terms of blogs, in terms of content. So what we did, we just started with one language to learn. And then we just published like a lot of content around that, and we also started to do some link building. And since it was a niche market, it was pretty easy to get to number one on the Google rankings. And then we expanded from there, and then we grew over time in authority, and that's really nice because we could, after, I mean, it still takes a lot of time. It takes probably 6 months to even go out of the Google sandbox, meaning that Google even recognize you. But after that time, you can see, like, does it get traffic? And also then you can start to track, does it get actually installs from that traffic? And then you can, like, have the strategy. You start with a very small niche, and then you just go to the neighbor niche and also dominate that, and then just grow from there. So that's been a really good strategy for us.
Okay, and there are do follow and no follow links that different blogs offer. So whether you know or not, I'll just say it really quick. A do follow link just basically means there's no parameters, and that link will go directly to you. No follow means that you won't get the SEO juice from getting a backlink. how do you identify which ones allow you to pass that SEO juice on to you versus the no follows, which is kind of like it's cool, but it's not as useful.
Right. I mean, you can't really know in advance, right? But you can't. What we do to get links is basically do outreach, and you can also still you can do it with ChatGPT as well. You like give them give them some. Oh, I want a link basically. 2 or 3 sentences, and then make it more polite, and then it makes it more polite, and then you do like outreach to different companies that could give you backlinks. Basically, that's the idea, and and then it's oftentimes it's paid. They want money, but sometimes you get it for free as well. But then you have to before you get the actual placement, you have to negotiate with them. If they only want to give you a no-follow link, it's not going to be that great. Though I still think it is worth it, just for, especially in bigger publications, usually like Forbes and so on, they don't give you no-follow links. But then if you go into Forbes, it doesn't really matter because you just say, you can just say that you are featured in Forbes there. That's also pretty valuable, right? So you don't need necessarily a follow link from Forbes.
And technically, legally, you can say as seen in Forbes even if you place an ad. Technically, like when you look at these, when you look at a lot of these as seen on ABC, NBC, and that if you buy an ad, you legally can list that. So it doesn't have to be necessarily featured. So to find a no follow, you don't want no follow. It's okay, but if you do, go to the page source. Go to a website, look under page source. Every browser has it, and just do a search term of no follow as one word. And the tag will be next to the link, and if it says no follow, then they will not give you as strong of a backlink. So there you go, cheat code. Next, because we got 9 minutes left, so we can finish all the sessions on time for everyone. Programmatic, this is the world of Jaslyn. Since we had the huge intro, let's just say that the best way to test a new partner, like if someone's going to use a DSP, not necessarily Smadex, but a general best practice, what's the best thing you suggest that they should be looking for when testing a new DSP partner?
Okay, thank you. So basically, programmatic is a term to say everything is being automated in the marketing space. When you buy ads, everything is automated. So I'm very glad that I'm actually one of the last few speakers because most of them have already been covered by some of the great speakers. So as earlier on, as Yuli from ClearPeer actually mentioned, that you need to have an existing app that has already, have some sort of learning already before you really tap onto a DSP to learn. Because DSP is not about, like I say, plucking data from the sky. Everything has logic. Everything actually has data. And data doesn't lie. So you actually can spin off a very cohesive story to understand what exactly is the data is telling you about your users, about your product. Is it working? Is it bad? And then what is the missing link? How can you piece the puzzle together? So when you want to test, let's say, a performance DSP, I think the most important thing is to understand, what do you really want? Are you looking for just branding awareness? Are you looking for bottom line, like BTL? Are you looking at just pure purchases? So there's a lot of very interesting insights that I hear from my advertisers is that prior to coming to performance DSP like Smadex or any DSPs out there, they have been overly reliant on certain networks or certain SANs, which is self-attributed networks out there. And then all of a sudden, they realize, hey, man, I've been running for like a couple of months, couple of years. The price just shot up, and they have no way to actually control it. They don't know where they are buying from. They don't know who is their users. And, they are under the mercy of the networks that is, they have been buying for months or years. So when I actually came over to DSP, I think why they are very interested to actually continue this relationship is because they could actually make sense of where the money is actually being parked into. Who is the publisher that is buying most of their ads? Because most of the time when advertisers think that, let's say for example, fintech apps, okay? I think my audiences are white collars. I think that they are people earning from X amount to X amount. But when we actually ran the performance, out for them with MMP data and of course our in-house data. We tend to showcase to them that these are the list of websites that your potential audiences are at. And some of them are cryptos, and these may not be the white collars that you're looking at. In fact, cryptos could be really very lucrative in markets that are developing or even in third world countries. So that's why this actually gives a lot of insights to marketers as well. And for them to actually start, they also have to understand what kind of budgets do they have. DSPs do not work really well when you actually have a new app, or maybe you don't have much data to tap on. So it's really great before you want to start anything on programmatic. It's good that you already have a bulk of data that is sitting onto your vault, either with your audience list, with your MMP, or with your whatever in-house database that you have. It's important that you have this because if you don't have MMP yet, you can actually plug this server to server back to MMP and then let them analyze it and pass it back to DSPs. They can actually make sense, using automation, using the big word called AI and machine learning. They can actually detect, and for our site, within 2 weeks or even less, we will be able to make sense of the data of whether or not your KPI since day one is able to be realistically be met. Because sometimes advertisers may think that, hey, my KPI is 10% ROS in day 30. But after we ran the data, we tell them that, excuse me, Mr. X, your ROI was actually between 5 to 6% for the last 90 days. So let's set these expectations, and then they actually understand, okay, let's do something along that line, and then we grow eventually. Otherwise, we will kill one another. It's like, you are a bad network, you're a bad DSP because you couldn't actually meet my expectations. But at the same time, we are, as a DSP ourselves, we may think that, hey, are we doing a bad job? But actually, we are not. It's just because that we didn't actually get the data correctly to really understand one another's expectation. So, best way to test out a new partner, make sure that you have the right budget, make sure what you want, and of course, make sure that you already have a data that is sitting back end so that we can eventually take it, test it, understand it, and help you to even grow exponentially out of that. Yeah. Thanks.
Awesome. 2 things real quick. If you can pay for conversions, do that. Clicks are second best. I would, in rare case, never pay for impressions. And then if you're going to do a machine learning campaign, make sure you have enough budget that can last for a while and you don't stop it, or else you have to start all over again. So don't pause it for too long. Make sure you have enough budget that can last for a while. Now, we're going to have to skip to wrap this up. We got 2 last questions here. This one is, what does a winner look like? So as briefly as we possibly can, we can have a whole panel on this alone. So let's just say, when you analyze and determine success, what are the things that you're looking at to determine that you found your winner? Whether it's a new channel, or it's similar to the first question, but let's see what happens here. Jaslyn, you want to start us off with a quick answer on what is the one thing that people should determine?
Okay, so since I'm not an app owner, I can only speak on behalf of the advertisers that I'm helping with. I wouldn't say that what goals are they analyzing, because they have a lot of goals, but I would just say that what are the best ways to maximize ROI? Is that okay? Yeah? So some of the things that they are doing to maximize their ROI is just now what our Polish friend here talking about data. Unifying data is really important, because if you have these connected silos of data from platforms, networks that you work with, it's going to be a huge mess. You cannot make a cohesive story. Your media buyers don't know what's going on with the audiences, and then you don't know where to actually begin with. You're basically wasting money, wasting your time. So it's very important to have a unified data. Either you work with some analytics partner that have really good platform to help you to make sense of all the data that you're buying from. Because today marketers are not just buying from 2 or 3 channels. They are buying from maybe 20. Some of them are even running KOL, which is affiliates network. So there's so much data to analyze. So where do you begin with? So unifying is very important. Secondly, how to maximize ROI is, of course, creative optimization. This is very, very important, and I think that it's going to take the industry by a storm soon. Just like Iron Source have just recently bought over Luna, that is actually a video and playables company that make this kind of creative for them. And so, if you can actually do some really great, amazing contents every 1 or 2 weeks, I don't know if it's too much, but this is what a lot of marketers are actually doing. They test it. Even a simple tweak of that cross button or even the color, you can see amazing shot up of CTR. So always do a lot of A/B tests. Don't be complacent thinking that, hey, this works. What works today may not work tomorrow. So always continue to do that. And last but not least, I think that find a very good marketing partner that you can work with, like what Louis actually mentioned. When you run a campaign, don't just put the hard stop button immediately, because sometimes it really takes a little while for the machine learning to understand the data. For Smadex, everybody has their own set of algorithms. For Smadex, as long as it is within 7 days, you have 500 events. You don't even need installs, just touch points events. Say, for example, you have 4 steps: install, registration, and then retention rate, and then purchase. Okay, let's say, for example, 4. So every step of this user journey, make sure that you are able to get at least 500 events for the entire week. This is not too much to ask for, right? Then you'll be able to understand, allow the machine to really understand, it's like ChatGPT. You're teaching a child. You're teaching a child how to, understand things. So we are also grooming it and teaching it, coupled with the first-party data that you sent over. So we make sense of it, and then we launch it. So, this is not to put a hard stop, but to allow, data to come in. Take about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Eventually, you will see registrations percentage go up, and that's where you work on the retention rate, then you work on the purchase. Sometimes it may take a little while. We have to be apples versus apples. So if Facebook or TikTok takes about maybe 1 week, 10 days, you see the result. Maybe DSP takes a little bit longer time, but eventually, along the way, for long-term wise, DSP has proven to be much more significantly cost-effective and affordable than any other networks and walled gardens out there. And I'm very confident about that, because I came from all different networks and walled gardens before. And I was actually working for MTG, which is a gaming company, way before I joined Smadex. So understanding all this data, I know DSP is really the one that we have to go to. Yeah. So yeah, that's my share.
Rishi?
Okay, maybe I could quickly add something
Yes.
from an app perspective. So the way we do it is really simple. It's like we try different channels, and then we just have a spreadsheet that just has, say, 5 or 6 numbers for each channel. So each channel is like click, install, and then for us it's sign up, and then subscription, like trial sign up, and then the actual subscription, because we have a 7 days trial. And so that's like 5 or 6 numbers, and then we can just put the conversion rate for each channel. So you run ads for Facebook, programmatic app, we don't run it yet, but Facebook, Apple search ads, Google ads, and native ads, and another channel. And we have 5 of these channels, and then we just put it in a spreadsheet, and over time we can just compare apples to apples and see which step, like that, for example, Apple search ads cost us $3, but then the conversion rate inside the app is better than the other channels, so we can compare it well.
Yeah, it's exactly the same as what Simon is saying. We also have, you just compare the fundamentals, downloads, free trial, subscriptions, and how long they stay for. But the only thing is we don't spend on marketing. So we do one experiment at a time. Even though we're not spending directly, we do a lot of activities outside of that. So we'll do, like, let's say, just like you guys do content with your blog, we have a lot of YouTube videos going up of kids playing our game, and so because we've seen that influencers doing that has given us boosts, and because we're doing that one activity at a time, we know that it attributes to exactly that activity. In the similar way, what we've seen is even though backlinks, for example, is not relevant, just because we have a higher presence by doing a lot more activity in one field. Let's say we're putting up, 10 YouTube shorts within a period of 2 weeks, one every day. You know that if you're doing a lot more activity, even if you're not getting the views, if your downloads are going up, it's all attributed to that one activity. So that's how we are doing the comparison. We're doing the A/B test, but we're doing it in in slices.
Anything else? Are we good on that? Okay, so please give a big round of applause to our awesome
Thank you.
3 panelists.